Oh, okie dokie. You see how wet it is in here? Sorry. Just had some rain. Anyways, let me go ahead and get this out the way right quick. So I saw that, well, it just shows how easily I can be bought. So I saw Wonder Woman because basically, my mom said, "Yeah, we'll pay for your lunch." I said, "Okay." So I said, "All right." So I ended up going to see Wonder Woman. I knew it wasn't going to be great because I saw reviews already from some YouTubers that I watch, and it had its moments. I'm not as critical as they are, but it had its moments. But I think in general, meh. Okay, goodbye. No, but seriously though, I think that I'll try to give you a brief synopsis. But basically, the idea is it's kind of like movies like The Wishmaster or kind of those sorts of stories where it's like, well, I can provide you these wishes and everything else like that. But it's like infinite wishes, and it's one of it's just kind of an off take of that, except it's 1984, it's retro and whatnot. I think it just kind of fell flat. So basically, we see that Wonder Woman is now in 1984. She meets Kristen Wiig, who's kind of this nerdy gal and whatnot, kind of the same sort of nerdy gal, who does isn't noticed and everything else like that, kind of like Michelle Pfeiffer and Catwoman, kind of that same sort of meek and mild person, and then they suddenly find their strength and they don't want to give up the powers that they have been given, And she gets groped by this guy, and then once she, finds this wishing stone, then she's able to get this strength, you know. So we have, Pablo Pascal, I believe. Pablo Pascal, I think, who's also the Mandalorian. Mandalorian who doesn't really speak normally, doesn't show his face, but nonetheless, very much playing kind of a castizo sort of, because he looks fairly white, but and he's got an Asian son. That's what freaked me out. It's like apparently Mama's not in the picture, but he's got an Asian son of some sort. I'm like, did you adopt him or what? That isn't explained, but it's like there's some references, of course, to the 80s, the cargo pants and all that sort of thing. And they have a lousy Ronald Reagan impersonator, but I'm just kind of ranting and raving about this. But there's some things to notice, I think, which are somewhat political, and I think this is my kind of shoehorned, since this is mostly politics. But it's interesting where they were talking to this oil sheik in Egypt, and basically he's like, now that this Frank Lord, who's the Pablo Pascal's character, the main bad guy, and he's this this grifter, this sort of con man. He's this con man type who ends up going to hello. That's my cat. All right, she wanted to come in and say hi. But anyway, so Pablo Pascal goes to Egypt because he finds that this guy's an oil sheik, this and that, and he's one of the huge oil sheik. And basically he laughs, ha 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 ha, I've already sold my oil to the Saudis. So kind of referencing that geopolitical type thing. He says, oh, okay, well then I'll wish to take your men away. And suddenly his men just follow him like they're remote controlled or something. And, he says, I also want, because the thing is that he originally wanted as his wish to have the original borders of Egypt or some empire and not let anybody in. And so these walls started to come out. So it's very reminiscent, I think, of Israel. It's very reminiscent of Israel, ironically, seeing these walls and everything. I think that there was some alliteration there. I don't know, maybe that's my view. But so we saw that. We saw these walls come up. And, so we see suddenly, this comes up, and now the poorer sections, presumably of Cairo, don't have water now because I guess the border was built where the Nile River was, I think. I couldn't really tell. Anyway, so they do that. It's ironic, of course, because when they're chasing Frank Lord down in Egypt, and of course this was the subject of memes early on, was that they have this fight on this road going out of Egypt, and we see all these guys, all these Egyptians, and they have these MG3s. They have MG3 machine guns. For those that know, the MG3 is pretty much just a cop, or is a modified version of the MG42, which recently the Bundeswehr took out of service, but only recently, only maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So it's been in service that freaking long. That tells you the service length. But anyway, that's a whole other, gun nerd sort of stuff. Come on. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Now, let me try to finish up the synopsis here. I'm getting to the good bits here. So we see this fight. There's Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot fighting and everything. Trying to get this guy. You've got they brought back Chris Pine because apparently because she wished him to come back, and she didn't want to give him up because he's the love of her life. Yada. I don't even care about that feiwa. But the thing is, so they're in this taxi chasing folks down, and we see the more memorable bit which was made into a meme is that somehow Chris Pine found an RPG of some sort. Yeah, RPG 7, assuming. Fired an RPG 7 off. It looked like a smoke thrower, but really, I guess it was anyway, they shot this RPG off. She flies by, using the golden lasso to use that to go and travel to save these 2 kids, these Egyptian kids. And of course, like I say, that was great meme material. It's kind of like one of those things. Only Israeli missiles can blow up, can blow up brown kids. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of racist. But anyway, I said it. So that was the more memorable bit to me, because obviously Gal Gadot, of course, being Israeli, being 100% Ashkenazi, owning a hotel, but also being in the IDF. So there's a lot of political shit behind it. I'm surprised that more people haven't really gotten at her about it, But eventually it will. I'm sure it will catch up to her. But anyway, that's a whole IRL issue. Anyway, so that happens. We see that more of these wishes are being brought true, and that this Frank Lord guy, they made alliterations that he was Trump, but it's like, I don't really get the whole Trump thing, to be honest with you, watching the movie. But we see Kristen Wiig's character continue to be controlled and everything else like that. She kills this guy that was trying to rape her. She kicks him and everything else like that. We kind of see all these different characters of the time, trying to, get something in return for these wishes. Basically is that. But as much as he gives to you, and monkey's paw, they continue to repeat that throughout the movie. And I think when 1984, I think that they called it that partly because it's somewhat alliteration to George Orwell's book, but also because I think that they were trying to reference that kind of those frame of book, that genre, because before Chris Pine's character dies off, he mentions I'm trying to think of Aldous Huxley's book. What is the name of that? I'm sorry, my boomer brain. Oh my goodness, it's gonna bug the hell out of me. It's gonna bug the hell out of me thinking about it. Brave New World. There you go. Yeah, it's A Brave New World. I heard him mention that. So there was some alliteration there. Like I say, I'm not trying to make this intentionally long. I'm bad at explaining things. So just kind of bear with me. The schizo stuff just comes out. Anyway, so we have that scene where she's like, I renounce my wish. And so that goes away. Kristen Wiig, or basically is that Frank Lord gets an invite or forces his way into the president by a lousy Ronald Reagan impersonator. I'm surprised they couldn't find someone better, but I think that they just ran out of money. They're just like, no, to hell with it. There's probably somebody on the crew who was like, "Hey, this guy looks close enough like Ronald Reagan. Put a suit on him and get to it, you know." And so, what does Ronald Reagan do? And Ronald Reagan's like, "Well, I wish that we had more missiles than the Soviets, and we had all the power and this and that." And so he does it. And so, basically, the whole linchpin of this movie is just the world is going to be destroyed. It's going to be mutually assured destruction because we have missiles and everything else like that. Oh, it's awful. And there's all this regret going on. And so meanwhile, Frank Lord sees these two charts on the back, which are, I guess, an extension of Star Wars, the Star Wars program, with satellites. And so basically they can, go into any, any TV station, I guess, across the world can beam this information. So what happens is that basically now he makes himself even more into a televangelist. And he goes to this private island that has it. And he's like, I can grant you all your wishes, and all the spinning and everything else like that. And I think the only memorable bit is just one of those things where it's like you can't have ultimate power. It's just one of those types of things where it's like you have to be careful what you hold dear and everything else like that. Because the thing is that apparently this Frank Lord guy found this stone that Kristen Wiig's character Barbara had, and basically said, "I want to become the MacGuffin," and so that's the whole thing in the beginning. It turns into dust, and he becomes it, so he's able to grant all these wishes. That's the whole thing. It's like some wish master type crap. Anyway, the ending is just basically, oh, he feels bad for his son and everything, and oh, because of that, it all ends, and it just kind of peters out. Basically, Kristen Wiig's character, I think, is dead. She's they turn her in like a cat thing, basically, because she was like, I am nothing, this and that. Turn me into the most, powerful fighting machine or whatever. And yeah, it just looks like a rejected X-Men character. But anyway, the ending brings in Linda Carter, the more famous Wonder Woman from the TV show. It brings her in at the very end. It's one of those, the teaser, the Marvel teaser, but we're gonna do we're gonna bring in old Linda Carter to to come back. Apparently she's 69 years old. I know. But anyway, it's like they're gonna bring her back, I guess, and I guess she's gonna help Gal Gadot in some way in the next movie. But yeah, I'm sorry that was kind of schizo, but basically I think that a lot of folks were correct, is that it was, I can see where they tried, and I think that they did, do fairly good elements in terms of trying to make it 1984. But I feel like it was very thrown together. It felt very amateurish, and I know it's directed by a woman. Oh, my culture war. I know it's beyond that though. It's like I can see what they were trying to do, but meh, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like meh. Who cares, really? But yeah. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was kind of a brief, just synopsis of that movie. Overall, I would say in terms of movie making, I give it a B. I wonder how much they're going to make box office wise, or how much did they make box office wise? 1984. I wonder how much box office they made that first weekend. I am curious now. Let me see here. Do they already have it? Oh, they don't have. Okay, no wiki page yet. 200 million budget. Hans Zimmer. Gal Gadot was a producer. They always do that because they don't want to pay you more. Yeah, Pedro Pascal is the main bad guy. Yeah, Kristen Wiig is Cheetah, apparently. But yeah, Barbara, whatever her name is, yeah. But yeah, like I say, with the movie, it's just kind of like, I can see the point of it. They tried to bring up more of the lore, I guess. But yeah, in terms of a score, I'd probably give it, I'll probably give it 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, maybe even 6.5. I'll be polite. But yeah, for those that want to see it, I mean, I'm sure that there are better cartoons of it, but yeah, I'll keep it there. I hope y'all enjoyed that. See you later. Goodbye.